Welcome back to Scooter Gang. Today we have the Gspace GTR. We're going to be putting these PMT slicks on it. These are from Wyrd Ryds. These are the best tires in my opinion. They have the best grip, the best cornering, the best acceleration, the best braking. As long as you're riding in dry conditions, they're the best tires. I'll show you two different methods to mount the tire today, both using tire levers and also using just zip ties, which Gspace actually sent me that video. I'll show you that clip as well. Let's hop right into it. You're going to start with a flathead screwdriver, pop off your axle covers, find your motor wire and unwrap all the cable wraps. There's going to be one screw holding the motor wire in. You're going to want to carefully unscrew that. Not all the way, but most of the way, just to free it up. And you'll find that your motor wire is now accessible. Next, loosen your brake caliper bolts. Generally, you want to use hand tools, but once it's loosened up, you can use power tools if you want. Remove your brake caliper. Take a 21mm socket. Loosen up your axle nuts. Remember where the washers are because you're going to have to put them back exactly how they were. Release the air from the tire. Remove the 6 bolts on your brake rotor. Remove your brake rotor. This is a special brake rotor that is thick. This is going to give you extra good longevity on these brakes where you won't need to replace your rotor very often compared to a standard 2mm disc. Next, debead the tire probably with just your hands pretty easily. Take 2 tire levers. If you have to use screwdrivers or something, you don't have these, that would be totally fine at this point. So all you're going to do is go 12 o'clock and 3 o'clock. Just get that first lip. There you go, and now the rest you can just do with your hands. Just push it through. You'll see this tire is actually pretty decent. It has a anti-puncture gel inside, and the tread on it's actually very nice. I do like this as a stock tire. It's quite good. It doesn't compare to the PMT though. If you're a tire snob or connoisseur like me and you want the best tire you can get, obviously PMT is the best. But for a nylon tire like this, it's pretty good. Good cornering, good grip, good takeoff. I could ride these tires and be happy with it. But let's get our tire on here. You're gonna line up the rotation. Slide on the first half over the rim. I like to use a knee technique here. This will help seat the bead deep inside the rim, allow you to get the other sides on. You're going to start working your way very slowly. And you'll see that I use the axle itself to slide the lever over. Slide each side over a little bit at a time, and eventually it will pop over. It might take you a few tries, but it's not that bad. Trust me, anybody can do this with the right tools and a few minutes of learning. Now, like I said in the intro of the video, if you really don't want to use tire spoons, if you're cheap and you don't want to buy them, whatever, there is another method to get this on the rim with just zip ties. I just wanted to include this because obviously if it's easier for some of you, it's good to have it in the video. I know some of you probably already have tire spoons, you're already familiar with using it. You're probably not going to do this zip tie method. But I think a lot of you, this is going to be the way to go. Put the zip ties on, tighten them super down tight, should fit right over. Shout out to Gspace for making this video for us just to show the easiest way to do this for you guys that are all about the easiest way. I like doing things the easy way too, so thank you Gspace. Let's start reassembling our wheel here. We're going to start by putting our rotor back on, tightening all 6 bolts down. Next, you're going to try and add air. A lot of times with scooters, the air is not going to go in. It's going to leak out around the bead. This specific tire and rim combo took a little bit of bead sealant to get this all to seal. This is automotive grade sealant, and the best way to put it on is with one of these little clamps and paint the sealant inside the bead. So this sealant is basically like liquid rubber, and when you put it on, it will create a super good seal in here, and this tire will never leak air around the bead. I do this to all the tubeless tires on my scooters, and it really helps give it a very, very good solid bead. Next, you're going to want to take a ratchet strap around the circumference of the tire, tighten it down as tight as you can. Our 100 psi air, put it into the tire and seat the bead. Now we're going to pop off a ratchet strap, clean up all the extra bead sealant, and don't really worry about this too much because once it dries, you can peel it off very easily with your fingers. Check the air, make sure it's on point with our pump. I like to set these at 33 psi for these PMTs. For reference, I'm about 200 pounds. Next, assemble those washers that I told you to watch when we took the tire off. Put everything back exactly how it was so it fits exactly how it was before. Now I like to use a jack. If you don't have a jack, it might be easier to just set the scooter on the ground, push it in from the side, I would guess. If you can get something to lift the scooter up and sort of slide it in very carefully like this, it's pretty easy. Put your washers back on, get your axle nuts tight, and put the covers back on the axle nuts. Now, as far as your brake, you're going to want to use a brake spreader. You can use a screwdriver if you want it as well. Spread your brake pads apart. Put the brake caliper on the rotor. Tighten them down about 90% of the way. Hold your brake handle while you finish tightening them the rest of the way. This is going to center your brake caliper on your rotor and give you a very quiet spin. Next, you're going to put your motor wire back underneath and very carefully tighten the screw back in. I do think you should maybe hold your finger right by it. This is potentially a spot where you could screw this through the motor wire if you're not careful. So do be careful while you do that. Rewrap your wires and get everything situated how it was before we started. Thanks for watching, guys. If you found this tire change video helpful, please drop a like. I will link the full tire change playlist here if you want to see tire changes for other scooters and see how they compare. Thanks a lot, guys. Scooter Gang out.